All right, GM friends. So I'm going to be running through the rules for Ace. For anybody who's played other trading card games, this is going to feel quite familiar. You'll have your deck off to your right, and in Ace, you use shields as your life. So on one side, these have flash gems, and on the other side, they've got these shield points. And the goal in Ace is to progressively destroy your opponent's shields and then destroy all of their creatures. At that point, you win. So you're going to set your shields out like this. Below that, you have a separate mana deck. It'll be 10 blue mana. That'll just sit right below your shields. Other player has their board already set up. And each player is then going to look at their aces and in secret choose any ace that they want and set that face down. So that will be revealed after their final shield is destroyed. The other aces can just be moved out of play. You won't be using them at all. The regen is also going to choose one. Of course, they'll be going with Aether's Phoenix, and that's going to go face down as well. So you will do a coin flip to decide who goes first. I've already done that, and I've decided the degen is going to go first. So each player draws 4 cards. The player who's going second also gets 1 purple flash gem. So that's going to go right out in front of the regen immediately. And now we're going to start things off with the degen's turn. So before their turn even begins, you have a mulligan phase. So the degen's looking at their hand, and they've already got a pretty good spread of different costs, and those costs are the little blue number, and that you can see is going to be what you use your blue mana for. The regen, looking at their hand, they've got a couple really high cost ones here. There's a 6 and a 7. So they're going to set those 2 cards down, draw the next 2 cards, ends up having a much better low cost hand, and then those 2 cards are going to get shuffled back into their deck. So you have 1 chance to mulligan, and you can do as many cards as you want. There's no downside to doing that, so pick out the cards that you don't want to start with, and then just make sure that you draw back up to 4. So degen is going first. At the beginning of your turn, you would refresh any mana you have, but in this case, we don't have any, so we're just going to add 1 mana. Just do that at the start of every turn. Draw a card. And we've got a guy here who costs 1, so I'm going to tap this blue mana and play the Gawk Survivor. Just like most TCGs, he has Summoning Sickness, so I can't use him, can't do anything else with him, I'll pass. The regen puts out their blue mana, and they also draw a card. Now, we've actually got 2 mana to start with. We have our normal blue one, and then we have these flash gems. And flash gems can be used as normal mana, but they can only be used once. So I'm looking at my hand here. I want to get some creatures out there right away. So I'm going to play this Cult Taoist. I'm going to tap my blue mana, burn that purple one, and that allows me to play a Cult Taoist. And the Cult Taoist, when he gets played, when summoned, give your ace +2/+2. So we're going to pull in these status cards here, and these numbers along the sides here, they'll correspond with, so we put this guy up here. See, as we move this up, he is just adding stats. And his ability allows us to buff our ace. So we're still not going to reveal this ace, but we're going to give him a +2/+2. He's going to stay off to the side there for later. Cult Taoist also has Summoning Sickness, so the regen is also going to have to pass. Back to the degen. He gets another mana at the beginning of his turn, and he refreshes that one that he used last turn. And he's going to draw. So we've got 2 mana to use over here, and we've got this Cult Taoist. So let's use these 2 mana, play NGMI, and this Gawk Survivor can now attack. He's got a 1 attack that's down here in the corner. Got the 2 little swords crossed. And with 1 attack, I can't destroy the Cult Taoist because he has 3 defense. But this first shield only has 1 health. So I'm going to attack that shield. Destroys the shield. Whenever a shield gets destroyed, that player gets a flash gem. So this is a little comeback mechanic. So this regen has a flash gem now. The Gawk Survivor, though, he also gets something. Whenever a shield is destroyed, I gain +1/+1. So this guy is also going to add a +1/+1. And with that, the Degen's turn concludes because this NGMI just came out, so he can't do anything. So the regen's going to go, refreshes the mana, adds a new one, and draws a card. Merge Panda. Well, he's pretty expensive, so we're going to put him back. All right. Oh, we've got a lot of guys that we really want to deal with here. So I'm going to play this green pill. I'm going to save my flash gem for later. That'll stick around. This green pill is a action card. I can discard that, and it's going to give my Cult Taoist a +2/+2. And it's also going to give my Ace +2/+2. So getting stats everywhere. Still have that flash gem, but can't use that for anything else right now. So I'm just going to use the Cult Taoist to attack this Gawk Survivor. The Cult Taoist has 2+2 attack, so 4 attack. The Gawk Survivor only has 3 health, so he is no longer surviving. He is out of there. So in Ace, the attacker gets to declare their target. There's no retaliation damage. It is about as simple as it can be. There's no damage counters. So if, for example, the NGMI was attacking the Cult Taoist, he would do 2 damage, but the Cult Taoist right now has 3 + 2 health, 5 health. So he'd go down to 3, but unless somebody else was attacking him, then the Cult Taoist heals back up at the end of the turn. So that concludes the end of the regen's turn. Going back to the degen, adds another mana and refreshes the 2 that he's got. We're going to draw. Nice, we've got a Doge. It's pretty expensive though, so he's also going back. Now, we've got another type of card here. We're going to tap all 3 mana, play out an environment, a mining rig environment. So this costs the 3 mana here. And this is a semi-permanent card that'll go out there. It still has health, so the opponent could attack and destroy it. But while it's out there, it has a special ability. So I'm going to put that out. And then I really need to deal with this Cult Taoist. So I've actually got something, even though I'm out of mana, this centralized sequencer costs 0. So I can play that to give my NGMI +2 attack. But that's not enough to destroy the Cult Taoist. So I can actually destroy my own shield and give him +4 attack instead. So I'm destroying my shield. And these have, I put clear sleeves on this deck. So I can actually just flip this card right over. And that gives me a flash gem. Me as the degen. And then that now gives my NGMI 6 attack this turn. So he can now destroy this Cult Taoist. So he is out of there. And then my mining rig environment kicks in because it's the end of my turn. Excuse me, this is beginning of the turn now. Changed that the last minute. All right, so it's back to the regen's turn. It's gonna ready up the mana, draw a card, and I'll find where my hand is here. He's gonna draw a card, we've got 4 mana to work with. We're going to play out a Wisdom Council Spirit Guide. So we'll tap all 3 of these. And the Wisdom Council Spirit Guide has a when summoned effect. So that's going to give our ace +2/+2. It's all the way up to 6 now. It also has a flash shield, which says attach a status card. So that's using these same cards. I can just find flash shield on there, and I'm just going to put that behind the creature. And it has a little description there. The first damage this creature takes is ignored, so it's like a one-time force field. So she's just come into play and can't attack, and with that, they're going to pass. So I'm going to fast forward through this game a little bit, and we'll see what happens when the aces come out. Okay, the game has progressed. This D-Gen has had all of their shields destroyed, and Giga Chad was already summoned, and the D-Gen is about to attack. So he's first going to use NGMI to do 2 damage to the baby Gwei, and that destroys the baby Gwei. The Gwei had Guardian, so he had to be attacked first. The Anon also has Guardian, so either of those guys needed to be attacked. And so NGMI is already attacked. I'm just going to move him back to remember that. Giga Chad has dual strike, so he can attack twice. So I'm going to attack Anon, and that does 6 damage. Anon has 6 health, so he's out of there. And Giga Chad can attack again and destroy the Merge Panda. Wow, clearing right through him. So Giga Chad is done. The Coin Collector can only do 2 damage. The shield has 5 health. But the FTX Titanic has 6 attack, so he's going to destroy that final shield. So the shield gets destroyed. The regen gets yet another flash gem. They've really been saving him up. And the ace comes out. Now, even if there are other creatures still out here, there's a force field the second that final shield is destroyed. So this player is totally immune until their next turn. So at this point, their ace gets revealed, and this is, again, already happened for Giga Chad. This guy has +8, and you already know who it's going to be, Aether's Phoenix. Aether's Phoenix has the ability that when he's summoned, brings, read it back up here, summon a creature from your discard pile, then transfer my +1/+1s to it. That creature becomes your ace. So I'm going to look at my discard pile here, find the biggest guy I can. That's going to be Anon. So I'm bringing Anon back, resummoning him. He gets Guardian. He also gives my ace +3/+3. So that's +2. We're even going on to another status card here. And then the final part of that Aether's Phoenix is that it moves all of them, the retroactive public goods funding, over to Anon. So Aether's Phoenix is strong in its own right, so we're not too worried about him. And now we've got this incredibly powerful Anon. It is now onto the regen's turn. They get another mana. I've already refreshed it. They draw their card. And I'm going to tell you right now, this regen really has a setup. So they're going to start off by tapping 4 of their blue gems and playing a Regen Folly, which does 5 damage to an enemy creature and 1 to all others. So they're going to look over here and let's do 5 to that FTX Titanic. That destroys it. And then 1 to each of the others. Each of these guys has 1 health, so they're out of there. Giga Chad has now 1 less health, so he's sitting there at 11 right now. Now, we don't even have to attack if we want to. We have so many different ways to finish poor Giga Chad. But because this Anon was actually summoned during our opponent's last turn, because our ace just came out then, he actually does not have summoning sickness, if I can say that right. So he can just absolutely squash this Giga Chad. No more creatures left for this poor D-Gen, and the regens win, because the good guys always win. And that is how you play Ace.